God, this mouse. I can't work right now. I gotta replace this mouse. Ah. John Lucas. I know I got the first name wrong, huh? How's it going? I gotta go. I gotta find a mouse to replace this one with. Cool mug. Oh yeah, it's got little Spock on the other side. Spork, is that his name? All right, let's try this one. Live long and prosper. Hoi. Okay, so this is the one for this one. I just looked at the page you have open there. It looks terrible. Yeah. No, the docs for the skeletons are all wrong in Godot. That's why it took me a little bit longer to figure this out. I had to just figure it out because the docs are not updated. Okay, so this mouse is very whippy. All right, so let's go over to Godot. And we get to look at girls hitting balls. So this is going to be good. Probably dudes too. But now we need to actually try and animate this. Right? It sounds very suspicious. Man, this is how you know things are getting serious. I'm going to crack open a soda. Instantly. That fizzy carbonated caffeine hit. Thanks. Oh, that's some good stuff. Okay, so we need to create the draw order for everything. So we have to create remote. What do they call them? Remote transform. And this is where things get weird because I don't know if we need to change the Why is it upside down? Oh, it's not. It's just, okay. 192, negative 192. There we go. Okay. So if we do remotes for everything. Ah, sweet Jesus. Did you stream today? At All Sticks? I'm not, you know what? I'm not shouting you out that much. So as soon as we get an audience, I got to shout you out. I get in this habit of shouting people out, and then I just don't add people to my, I'm just not thinking, I don't know. I just get in a routine. What is this? There we go. I'll probably stream tomorrow. Oh no, I like to spread the juice everywhere. You know? Are you familiar with this saying? It's an American saying. Spreading the juice. No. Does this not have a... This does not have a down on the middle mouse button? Are you shitting me? This thing doesn't do down on middle mouse? How do I drag and move? Oh my god. Dude, what is with mice nowadays? Why are they doing this? That isn't... That a circle does not make. There we go. I'd buy that for $1. then you gotta laugh maniacally. Of course. All right. Well, we got some of the ordering figured out. Let's we'll deal with the rest of that later. Let's get our KI, the kinematics crap going. So if we go to the skeleton and we go to modification stack and we make a new modification stack. So you got to do these 3D assets? I'll be making assets for 2 3D games. Is that paid work? Nah, 2 game jam games. Nice. What are the jams? But both times I don't have to code. That's nice. I can focus on the art. What's that like? I'm not jealous. Yeah. Send it to me. Give it to me, baby. Bum, 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 bum. Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, that's right. We have to do the node paths. Halloween is my second favorite holiday. I wish we could get more into it. My family was never really into it. My dad was pretty strict about that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, my dad was like, where people get various entities. That happens in the States. Hello? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll come help you. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta help my mom. Maybe I can put it on the stream. Calvin's destroyed our porch. Let me see. View. Home safe. What's it called? Let me see if I can find the cams. Connecting? Maybe? There you go. Look at that porch. He's destroyed our porch. He's literally ripping off our... And look at all this. This is fresh. A fresh kill from him. He is chewing up everything. Yeah, he's... a raptor. He is a raptor. Okay, can I get this to be full screen? There we go. What? Bro, what just happened? Brah. There we go. All right, you'll see me and my mom here. I'll be back. And the dog. And hopefully he's being good. He might be bad. This might be embarrassing. All right. the couch. Good boy. You were a good boy. Yeah. You did real good. That porch is destroyed, huh, Cal? Yeah, I'm gonna... So they did like this weird outdoor carpet for the porch, which is like super tacky to begin with. And it was already aging. Right? Says I'm a good boy. I'm not a bad boy at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see if I can get the camera going. The USB's acting weird. Man, this happens sometimes. I don't know that we're going to be able to do doggo cam today. He's a good boy, though. He's doing really good with my mom. He actually had like a really bad first impression with her. And for a while, it was like almost going to be a deal breaker. Where we were going to... It was like, we got to get rid of him. Because if he can't be okay with my mom, then we got a problem. But... It's partly just like a safety thing for him. And she kept surprising him. Every time she'd first run into him, it'd be like coming around a corner or whatever. And it spooked him. And he was spooked when we first got him. And there was never a moment where she got to like just be with him and like let him settle with her. And so that's happened. And now he's totally chill with her. And he actually seems to understand that she's like, you know, older and maybe needs a little... not so much puppy. So he doesn't like, he did jump on her the other day, but it was like the sweetest, kindest, like, but he's still a really big dog. So we don't want him doing that. But, anyways, okay. So we're building, we have the left arm. So this is where the arm will point to when we build the joints, right? So we're going to do, left upper arm bone, left lower arm bone. And then we're going to assign the node path to left arm. And I'm going to lock the sprites so I can't move them. And the bones. I guess we'll block everything except for the... Here we go. So let's unlock it all then. But yeah, the porch, the cost of fixing that porch is going to be in the $5,000 range. It needed to happen already, but he's certainly accelerated the process. Yeah. So it should be, this is what's confusing me. It should be pointing to the left arm. So we did something wrong. Let's go back. Two bone kinematic, upper left, lower left. Node path is left arm. So maybe the issue is that it's inside the skeleton's positioning. Let's try another one. Oh, it's not on. There we go. Hey, there we go. Okay, so the joint is wrong. So let's fix that. We're going to delete this. I didn't know there was a boolean for whether or not it was on or not. Enabled. Oh, how embarrassing. Get your hand out of your crotch, buddy. So what we can do is let's change the bin direction, and now we should be able to, yeah! Okay. So now we got our yes! Yeah! Okay. Let's go back to our... All right, so that's our first bone setup. It is his sofa. I mean, I'm glad someone's getting some use out of it. But yeah, he's grown a lot even since we've got him, because I don't seem to remember him being that jammed in there. And he's still not done growing either. He's a big dog. I mean, it's so, I don't know. I'm falling in love with him more and more every day. It's hard not to. And he keeps like, you know, I'm taking him for walks and he's doing so good. He's being so good and he's doing so good. And like, he just needs to know, one of the best explanations about shepherds that I've read is that they just need to know that you've got their back so they don't think that they have to have yours. And like, so long as you communicate to them that you're in control and that everything's fine, then they'll be okay. But the minute that they think something's wrong and like they need to be in charge or protective, that's when you've kind of lost things. And so if you just let them know like, hey, it's okay and I've got this, they don't have to feel like they need to step in. But I hear that in Germany, dogs are just really normalized really well. And so you don't even have the imbalance issues. In the States, most of the dogs here are just totally off kilter. And like, it's hard because you can't even get them around normal dogs. So how can they be normal? You know, We have a dog tax in Germany. What is that? How does that work? And your neighbors will rat on you if your dog doesn't behave. So maybe there's more to the story than our media would present to us? What? Horse shit. I don't believe it. Oh. No, Matt. Hey. Oh. Should I bend the joint the other way? Yeah, that's going to work good. Well, you have to pay taxes to the state if you own a dog to make up for the costs dogs cause, like when you let them poop on public streets. and you have to register your dog. Your dog can be taken away if the dog is in danger or poses danger. Yeah, that's true here. Having a dog in the States opens you up to a lot of liability, frankly. Because you can get sued for anything in the States, but people can claim anything and they'll put your dog down, you know? So, and we do have to register the dog. That's true. But taxes, a dog-specific tax, that's very... A tax for living. The poop thing we solve with fines. And I hear some places are doing like genetic testing on the poop so they can identify exactly which animal pooped, which is like to each his own. Ha ha da 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 ba ba da da ba da ba da ba da ba da da ba da 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 ba da da ba ba da ba 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 da da ba ba da ba. All right, and then we'll add the right leg. This is like when you get kissed in a movie and you like do this. It's like a romantic movie from the olden days. Ye olden time. What's going on? Ratha da 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 da. Thanks for the follow. Da 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 da. How you doing? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Two questions. One, what are you working on? Two, what software tools are you optimistic about? That's an interesting question. Right now, I'm trying to build a skeleton for a chibi-sized character that is three-quarter view for a chat gaming system wherein initially it's going to be little avatars walking around on the screen. They won't look like this. They'll be like artwork. But this template is so that we can replace them with the proper sprites and also give an artist this here, and then they'll be able to go in and draw their own character and everything, and then load it into the game, and it'll show everything the way it should be. And And so initially the chat game, it's going to be like little avatars, kind of like you see on stream avatars, but then there'll also be starting chat game for that's a volleyball game, and then eventually there'll be multiple games, and we're probably even going to do a scripting language for the for people to be able to write their own stuff, and basically have access to all of our animation verbs for the characters, and so they'll be able to make pretty much anything within the limits of the system. What software / tools are you optimistic about? Optimistic about software. That's I haven't been optimistic about software in a long time. That's it's my Obi-Wan optimism. I haven't heard that word in a long time. Like truly optimistic about software. I don't know. I mean, okay, so not to overstate what AI is capable of, but I am extremely eager to see it applied in spaces as of assistance. Namely, it's actually something I was reading that Microsoft was working on. Was one of the things I had propositioned as it started seeing this technology start to kind of grow in the way that it's growing, within the limitations of it, it seems to me like it would be possible to use it for early screening of cancers, because you would be able to train those systems to spot things like in mass, and maybe we could move towards screening more often for things and catching things way early if we have like AI tools that will do the work of a doctor's eyes, and then not take the place of the doctor, but give that information to a doctor and say, look, do you see what I see? That kind of thing. And stopping certain problems before they start in human health. That's exciting to me. I guess for me, my excitement in the computer world is more in the theoretical spaces of what could be, and not what is, because most software nowadays makes me feel really bad about the state of things. What are you excited about? Applying software to early screening of cancers, AI tools. Rip of the bad words, but a recursive loop with a really good memory of identifying a specific issue. Something like that. I think the real practical applications of this stuff. I imagine you get stuck with a court-appointed attorney, and that attorney is able to access an AI that has all of state and federal case laws available to it, so that you can ask it questions and it can give you examples of prior cases and stuff like that, so that you can level the playing field with the haves and the have-nots. Those are the things that I think it could possibly be interesting in. But unfortunately right now, especially when people talk about things like ChatGPT, a lot of it is I equate ChatGPT as a half-remembered dream. It's like somebody having a stroke trying to explain something to you, or when you wake up from a dream and you remember it as everything was right in your mind in the dream, but then when you wake up and you start describing it, you start to realize what was wrong about it. And so if you don't know better in a subject, when you ask ChatGPT something, or some of these systems, learning the language models and stuff, you end up with like really kind of it can really lead you astray. I think people are jumping into this too early to start using it as a tool to like, how do I XYZ? I think that's not the space for that stuff yet. Devro, how's it going? if all devices have the ability to compute is viewed as digital compute, and all species with a brain can be viewed as biological compute, I'm super interested in the idea that bringing nature online via some sort of brain-computer interface, the software access of this is decoded biological compute and translating it into a digital compute. Neuralink is an example of this. Super bullish on this. Yeah, I mean, imagine being able to feed bird calls into an AI system and combine that with human observation about what's going on with the birds, and maybe being able to translate the languages of animals more or something, you know? Like that would be really interesting. I mean, there's like with whale calls and stuff, it's kind of like we kind of figured some of it out, but it would be really interesting if we could actually give language to that stuff. Okay, so we've got the kinematics for the arms, so like in the legs. So we can grab the arm here and move it around. Yeah! Or we can do the can. So that's good. And I suppose we could have the kinematic for the head and the... See, because we've got the... Can we rotate this? Can we rotate this bone? If we choose the torso... Yeah, we can. Okay. Brain-computer interface from human to animal would solve language issue, but it's fascinating idea to explore. If Ray Kurzweil is right, could be here by 2030, which is about 7 years from now. Not as far as it appears to be. But somebody has to do the work, and there has to be money in it. The theoretics of it and what could actually be applied to it are two different things. That's why I'm more optimistic about the spaces of medical. Actually, drug manufacturing could have a huge boon with what AI could possibly do with it. So there's a lot of spaces that I think it could be useful in. Yeah, it's just there has to be an incentive structure in it for those things to be pursued. And some of those other kind of far out ideas need to be in the spaces of academia and like college monies, universities and stuff, where they just give money to people to experiment for the rest of their lives. And then some major breakthrough comes out of that, but it's unknown at the time. But unfortunately, I don't feel like we're in a good space for that right now. And I think that a lot of countries that are going to try to lock this stuff down are going to have their lunch eaten by the countries that don't lock it down. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm optimistic, but I'm also like very cautious about yeah, I'm cautious. Yeah, I think. But then, for instance, I think on a small scale too, there's a dog that showed up on our property recently. He's on this. Oh, where did he go? Oh, he's on the floor. He showed up on our property, and we were trying to contact a local animal shelter about like, hey, what do we do? And we couldn't get a hold of them for 3 days. We tried email. We tried their social media presence. We tried calling. We tried every way to get a hold of them. And this is a shelter that will kill an animal after 5 days if nobody claims it, right? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, when we finally got a hold of them, they were like, well, we're really short-staffed. And it's like, I don't know that it would be that hard to tell a language model system, you're an employee at this company. These are the things that people may ask you. Here's a database of the dogs that we have inside or the animals that we have in the shelter. Here's the responses that we'd like to give if you're asked these questions. And then take somebody's text speech, put it to text, put it to the AI, have the AI say what the response is. That doesn't seem too impossible. And so like just a general assistance and stuff like that should be possible. And I almost am concerned that we haven't seen that yet, like immediately. So it makes me think that things aren't there yet, quite as it's being sold. Am I supposed to do that? Should I be working on that? So this wouldn't be emergency. This would just be like having somebody, taking up a job that couldn't be hired for anyways, right? We're short-staffed. Why are you short-staffed? Well, we don't have a lot of money. Okay. It would be great if we had a receptionist, though. It's like, that's when it starts to, I feel like it can maybe fill in some gaps. If we take away menial jobs, then people can have better jobs. And it's like people forget, like we used to have to loom by hand. And it's like, then the loom, the loom comes around and people freak out, and that's the whole saboteur thing, right? That's the sabo shoes and like, no, it sucks that you're gonna lose all this stuff, but then what do you get? You get like clothing and textiles, like unheard of, and then suddenly all this new stuff can happen because that other stuff doesn't have to be done by your hands anymore. Like that's what's so exciting to me about a lot of this stuff, because the potential to me, everyone's afraid of the big businesses, like completely removing. I don't think that's the scenario. I think it's actually enabling smaller sets of small businesses to feel like they're bigger. AI applied to this problem would suck only if it makes decisions worse than a human would. Right. Well, but you don't have to worry about getting tired and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure. But I really do feel like the personal, because we used to, it was PDAs, right? Do you remember PDAs? Does anyone remember those before smartphones? I used to have a Vio, and I did have a Palm, and that idea of like the Star Trek computer, I think is like, I think that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, I mean, I think you would need like an API layer so that the thing could not do anything beyond the scope of what you want it to do. So it's almost like you need to combine the AI with some sort of layer between it and what it can do, so that it can only do things inside of that box, right? So I think that's probably the way to handle it. And I think this whole thing about sentience is just complete hogwash and nonsense, and it's not something to be concerned about. But that we haven't seen these things already taking off, to me, indicates that the technology isn't even there yet. That as much as the language model stuff has progressed so rapidly, perceptibly, that in an applicable sense, as far as still not needing the human in between, I don't think we're there yet. And I think you still need to have that person in between it to delegate and like get it shape the response that you want to see, kind of thing. So I don't think it's quite there yet. But I don't know. I haven't messed around with this stuff. Maybe I should. Because I really like the idea of just being able to program the model and be like, okay, here's a transcript of every single voice call this company has ever received for customer service from our highest ranking customer representatives, and our most pissed off customers, and here's how they handled it and all this stuff. And like, let's train it to be like the best representative we possibly could. When we get a new hire in, the call can be recorded by the AI and transcribed to the AI, and the AI can tell the human, here's how you should handle this response. And the human can use their brain to go, that's a really bad idea, or all right, I'll say that. Right. So I still think there's there's like layers between. I mean, it's just a support application. Even if we theoretically have a me looking for a dachshund hot dog, looking for my dachshund hot dog. Wait, am I having a stroke? You can filter the information and send it to a human. He can be like, right, we got that one in yesterday. Let me take it back. Right, exactly. Damn. I didn't even know you had one. Am I just not watching your stream? My dachshund is named Hot Dog. I love it. I like that it's like, I also, you know what I wanted? I really wanted a pug, and I wanted to name him Pugsley. Well, I didn't really want a pug, but my wife said she always wanted a pug, and I always wanted a German Shepherd. That's a theoretical scenario. Oh my God. All right, so I got to figure out how to do the hip stuff. The angle 2 seems like a good way to do it. One called Trumpy, the other one called Pomsky. I had a mouse named Minnie Mouse. She died when I was at my dad's, and my mom put her in the freezer so I could bury her when I got home. She put her in a Ziploc bag, and yeah, you too, Ratha. Have a good one. What do you think about all this? You gotta go. All right, I'm gonna try a 2-bone. We're gonna do it with that. We're gonna do it with a node titty called head. And then, so this is head. And we're going to start at the torso and go to the head bone. Don't know how I feel about that. Maybe I am having a stroke. Aren't we all having strokes? What is a stroke? Who am I to say what a stroke is? I don't know what's going to be easiest to model. All right. I need research, guys. Can we track down a good volleyball spike? Or maybe we should start with a bump. Let's start with a bump. And volleyball girls are allowed in this. We're going to encourage that. Wait, let me see. Is there That's the tween. So let's see. Volleyball bump. So what we need is a 3/4 view of a bump. Did I tell you about my 15 minutes re-socializing beginning this week? No. What the hell are you talking about? This might actually be a good angle for what we're trying to do. Let's see. This is for research. Damn it, camera. Go back. There we go. Okay, that's not a good angle. Oh my God. To shoulder check. She sent me to another doctor. He sent me to physical therapy. What laborious things have you done in your past? Knees bent. This is surprisingly difficult to find good reference for this. Thinking about coming in weeks, I was like, I can just 5 p.m. and later. Secretary looks at me. We have a new student. She can do it. And the student comes in. She's the hottest, cutest redhead I've seen. I'm There, I haven't had a haircut or a shave in 6 weeks. Back home, called up friend. I need a shave. Get in here. So that's good. I just need it facing the other way. The problem I have to deal with too is there's movement. Okay, so it's just really a squat. He's got kind of a stiff back. The focus is all in the arms. Yeah, I mean that's something you just forget about when you're at home all alone and you don't think about that stuff, and then you go out and you're like, oh crap, I should probably look a little bit better appearance wise. I've been there. It's something I try to hammer into my wife and my kids actually is like when we go out, let's put on our best, because people just judge you by how you look. I need to look better when I want to bang a 24-year-old redhead. This is true. Probably true most of the time. Okay, so here's our transform. Okay, this is what I need. All right, so the transform's way up there. And let's get it to match the left arm bone connected to the thigh bone. I'd like to see the global position. Why won't you show me the global? So we're 36 from, oh, who knows what? Torso. 36. Oh, okay. Sorry. Negative 160. So that is where we want left arm. So we are at 160. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It'd be really nice too if we could lock, and I could probably do this procedurally in code. And I probably should okay. Sorry guys, we're getting sidetracked here, but what I'm going to do is procedurally lock the tip of the left arm to the point of the edge of the bone so that we can't do this. So that it's literally wherever we're on the edge of the bone. And maybe we could even, but okay, for now, let's just get this. Right arm should be 160 as well. It is. Left leg transform. Let's match those up along with the right leg transforms. And we'll just have our starting positions. And I guess ultimately, I wonder, can we do, hang on a second. Can we do a head that both bones are the head bone? It appears the answer is yes, but it has a stroke as we get close to it. Is there a way to select bones just for rotation so that I don't need to do this? Let's dump this. and delete this. And if we select the head bone, rotate mode. Hey, yo! All right. Okay. So it's possible. So you're telling me there's a chance. Okay, so let's here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lock up everything else. And I suppose we could do it like this. There we go. Now we can only animate the head sprite. Or sorry, the head bone. And let's lock that head sprite as well. And the torso bone. Okay, so cool. That is cool. Rotation back to 0. And torso bone rotations at 0 as well. We're almost ready for our T-pose. Locking it in, boys. Let's do it. View. Skeleton. Overwrite. Rest pose. There it is. That tree looks like hell. You have no idea what hell is. You want to see hell? Look at my porch. Sticks got to see it. My porch, and some of you have seen my porch actually, because I've streamed me playing fetch with the dog, but he has destroyed my porch. He's ripped up. Oh my god, guys. He's got the cushion for the thing. There's that meme. There's that meme. Yep. Oh, Bob, what are we doing here? Well, we got a porch we got to redo because some rando dog that this guy decided to adopt tore everything the hell up. I wonder when you guys look in this corner right here, like what it is you guys think you're seeing. Like this is where when I'm looking at something like this, I would look over here and be like, what is this? There's a boat. That's fascinating to me. Okay, so we've got our chibi dude. Sorry, I keep resetting my brain here. I guess now's the time to create an animation player for it. Outline. What the hell's outline? Oh, we can get rid of outline. Goodbye, outline. And let's go ahead and try and build out our first animation. Oh, that's cool. That's the set from Wrong Turn, isn't it? I don't even know what that is. What? Is that a show? And we got to find a 3/4 view where they're facing right, doing a bump. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, for sure where we're at, it's definitely like... Not really, but... Exactly. No, it's actually where we're volleyball vocab. Is there any bumps going on? No. Why is she holding the ball then? Forearm passing execution. All right, well, let's just build it how we. So here's the only problem I have with animating is that, as far as I understand it, everything's based around the let me get the we were gonna do the bones for the. So position on X is -64. Right leg should be -64. It's 65 right now. Okay, so that's 65, and then left leg should be 48, and we're 48. So let's set the default pose again. Overwrite rest pose. Okay, so now we've got that rest pose, and if we did something like this, and then we reset, it didn't do anything. Great. Why is that? That did. So rotation. No. Ah. Okay. Sorry. It's fun. I'm actually doing something fun. Okay, let me get back to what I was talking about, though. The thing that I'm concerned about is the feet. I want to animate starting from the feet, but then we also have, like, there's going to be animations for when you're airborne. As far as I understand it, you want to do everything from the hip, but how do you do a squat? Because in that case, your feet are still planted on the ground, but your hips come down. So how the hell do I animate that? Do I actually take the hip, like lock the feet to the ground? And so in this case, we would want to move right leg down to positions 64 out. And then we're 96 down plus the length 96. So 96 plus 96 for the right leg position. And then same for the left leg. Come on, Schultz. There we go. So now if I take the hip and I bend, we get that the feet are actually locked at a position. And then when we go airborne, we don't actually want to go airborne, though, because that's going to be determined by the so I guess what we need to find is, I just need to find the typical bump, like how fast does a bump happen in real life. So that's all we really care about. So let's find that. So how do we do frames? Okay, so that's... So from ready, see, this is the problem, is they're always ready. That's my problem, Doc. I'm always ready. So let's presume rated codecs. How's it going? I'm so confused. How many monikers have you got? What is going on? And yes, we're looking at volleyball. And yes, this is for research, I swear to God. Shout out. Let's do a shout out. Shout out. Rated codecs. What are all these handles? What is this? How many channels do you have? What the hell's going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Ooh, you recently streamed Shredder's Revenge. Hell yeah. 3 technically. All right, let's get this over to our animation system over here and see if we can't translate this into some sort of bump animation. So really, I just am looking at this for timing. I have one for my wife for cooking and hang out. That's cool. That's a good idea to keep them separated. Gotta keep them separated. So let's pretend like... See, the thing is she's in ready position the whole time because she knows she's going to have to bump. And I guess most of the time in volleyball, you are squatting like this. Is this correct? Is this like a general position in volleyball? The poop position? Like, I gotta... And let's see, the hips are further back from the knees. So this is good, but we don't want... See, the foot, this is what we want. The foot is here, and then the buttocks. The buttocks goes further back. So it's more like that, right? Okay. I got a shot in the buttocks. I got shot in the buttocks. In the buttocks. Scale keys we don't want. So this is the trick, boys. This is the trick to animating skeletons, is this right here. Insert key. This will create all the tracks you want. Use Bezier curves. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what this is, man. I don't know what this is about. Like, why is it asking that? What does that mean? What does it mean, John? Ah! What's happening? Oh, there we go. Okay. Easing. So we would want to do that then. Okay, hang on. We do want that. That is something we would like. Got to take care of some junk. All right. Thanks for the raid as always. I hope the game was fun. I've got that too. We should do some co-op. It's rebelling. The chicken a la carte is repeating on me. What does this record? Auto insert keys. When objects... No new tracks will be created. Keys must be inserted manually for the first time. Whoa! For the longest time. I... Ba 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 ba. Da 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 for the longest time. Do 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 do. So let's say we start here. How many frames are we? If we're doing, let's set the stats for nerds here. This is 24 frames a second. So we're going to animate at 24. Okay. Now, I suppose we could do on 2s, so we could do it like 12 FPS. But then I got to do the math in my head. I don't want to have to think of that. So let's see. The first, we're going to have the squat happen at the start of this frame, and we'll be full squat when the ball is halfway in its arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16. So 16 steps. Or 8 if we were... Okay. And then the squat is, the buttocks is past the heel. And I would say it's about a 45 on the legs. Oh, no! We got to remember just to grab the torso. So if we do record, I should be able to go like this. Yep. Oh, my God. Look at that. So I don't even need to set keyframes anymore. I just need to put things where I want them. This is dope. That seems right about right. Let's see what the rotation is on the left leg. So we're about 45 degrees. But if I could grab, see, I'd love to be able to monitor that other stat while I do this. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't it be loverly? Loverly. Loverly. And then the other thing, oh, you know what? Our starting position, though. Yeah. We'll go like this, and then we're going to, well, starting position, I don't know. Let's go back. Sorry, guys. Because we could tween to this animation, so starting position, I feel like we kind of need our starting pose, like a resting pose for our... Why is it not letting me grab left arm? Not grabbing the hip. And our draw order isn't quite right for some of this stuff. But we'll keep it at like that, and then we'll go to the 16 frame. And then, now, are we starting at 0? We are starting at 0. So really it's 15 then, right? And the other thing we need to do is bring our shoulders forward. So we do need to rotate. Whoa, dude, bro, let's chill. Wow. How about we go back and we select the rotate tool, choose the hips, the torso, and we pivot forward like that. So now things aren't looking right because, oh God. Okay, now let's go back to move mode. This is hard to figure. Because again, the rotate is a bit of a lie in this case. Because it's going to pull the legs. So maybe we don't need it as exaggerated. So again, the perspective stuff is weird. So if we go back, and then the head will point to the ball, which we might be able to do programmatically to have the head track the ball. And it didn't set our tweens on everything we needed. Now, why was that? It only did it for the torso. Why when I scrub is it okay, but when I do playback it's not? Well, I'll manually key everything then. So we'll select everything and key it all. Because this is straight up lying to us. So much for this. Auto insert keys when objects are translated, rotated, or scaled based on mask. Keys are only added to existing tracks. No new tracks will be created. Keys must be inserted manually for the first time. Whoa! Ah, so we need to have set keys on every single. Was that our problem? I don't know. Sticks, how are we feeling about this so far? What do you think? I mean, that's something that appears to be an animation. You seem to be making great progress. Oh, did you send the links for those jam games? That the cutout animation style looks like magic to me. Dude, dude. Dudes, I feel like dude is neutral. Oh, are they on Discord? Let me put them on. Are they on Discord? Sure. No. General? No. You put them in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. You guys remember that shoes song? These shoes rule. These shoes suck. These shoes rule. These shoes suck. Oh my God. Sorry. I'll stop. Why can't I build an audience? What is going on? He's referencing 14-year-old memes, sir. We can't help him. Abort! Oh my god. Shiz. Yeah, the 12 Days of Sketchoween is organized by Drent or Drent Soft Games. Yeah, I think Drent's been in here a few times maybe, and at least I've been rated by Drent, I believe. And I too have partaken in rating Drent. But again, it's one of the streamers I just don't get to see their streams at all. Scream Jam. Jammers, do not start work on your game until this submission period begins, or it will not be accepted. Streams like a rare Pokemon. You gotta be lucky. Gotcha. Welcome to Scream Jam. Zombocom. Welcome. The horror returns for yet another year of scares. It's that time again. If malevolent. Malevolent? Malevolent? Malevolent. There we go. Malevolent monsters lurk in your imagination. If you have a desire to create dark and dangerous things, and if terror is a taste you crave, come on in. Make a game this Halloween, if you dare. Dun, 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 dun. That's cool. 12 Days of Sketchoween. Game Jams. A game jam that takes place during the run-up to Halloween. The goal of Sketchoween is to make a small game in time for pre-Halloween spooky game sale period. Before the jam, you are allowed to do design work, such as working out what kind of game you want to make, assembling a team, creating a design document. But the actual game must be started during the jam period. What is that? That's so confusing. That's can be interpreted many ways. Many ways. All right. So here's my question, and I guess we need to look up some animation stuff because I'm just now realizing something, which is that this initial pose should be our starting pose. If we can tween between two different states of animations, we don't need that lead up. That lead up happens dynamically. So let's find out about how we do that. Twitch. What am I doing? Twitch. What am I having a stroke? I am having a stroke. GD animations. It means you can start planning the game, just not making any code or assets. Gotcha. So how do we... It's funny how little about animation... One way to achieve what you want is the capture value mode in animation tracks. Capture value mode. Animation track types. Copy pose. Interesting. Okay, so we can... All right, Stick, see it. Am I not seeing it because I'm not wide enough? So if I change that, oh, so that's what that means. Because we tween anyways. Can we change out of it? I guess not. So let's create another animation, new, bump 2. So using capture, you can add your first keyframe, not in time 0. So what it does is tween whatever value it has to this first keyframe. So for a clean loop, you add the keyframes. You add in the times 0.05 seconds and 1 second, and a loop between them. But if you come from a jump pose, it'll jump to the first keyframe. So the capture mode, do I have to do this for everything? I got to do some reading. I mean, theoretically, it would be all of them except for the head. Because again, I believe the head we can set programmatically. So I could test this by having another animation player that fires these animations off in like one after the other, right? And then they should, if this is working right, they should blend together, is what you're saying? If I get this right. Yeah, okay, good. This is exactly what I want. Oh, I didn't see your reply. Let me get my Discord open. Oh, okay. We'll try that then. So I'll create another animation player. And then we'll try... So rest. Oh, it won't let me. That was good. Reset. Sorry. Why does it disappear? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's bump though. We want to, let's not do bump. We want to do new animation. It snaps right to it. Did I not save it? That's there. So how do we go from... It just disappears when we when I go reset for the track. Do I need here to do... 10 FPS is too big. Too big for what? It does do it. So it's in the amount of... Okay, so the tweening happens in the amount of time between... Okay, but why did we get that little arm freak out? Okay, so it does tween it. Yeah. Because now we actually need to play a bump. We have to. And so if I have another animation between this, like let's just create a new animation called Happy, and we... I still need to frame. I have to select every bone when I do this, otherwise everything is off. It does seem to do it. So if we take the happy animation and we key it, the length of happy is, let's just make it like 5. And then we put this keyframe here. Again, this is just not working the way I was expecting it to. But if we key this like that, and then go back over here and we reset to rest pose, which it's having a stroke and it thinks our current pose is rest pose. This is great. Johnson has a gun. Now animation has keyframes for the position of the hands. It's weird, the scrubbing works for the new animation, but happy is not showing it in the scrub. But when I play it back, also, how do we slow down our playback speed? Speed scale. Let's lower that. It's looping. Speed scale. So we would need to scale the animation, the sub animation as well, not just the. Interesting. Okay. See, for some reason when I scrub this, it does not show the same result as something like this. We have to, do I have to key the positions of the arms as well? Like the actual nodes that the inverse kinematics are pointing at? I was hoping to be able to do it that way. Alternatively, you can disable IK and only use it for editing. Only disable IK. How do you, when you say disable, what do you mean? Probably on the skeleton node. So how do I use it as I'm animating, but then not have... Is there an IK enabled property? It is, yeah. So, I mean, it was, the whole point was to make the animation part smoother. So this is the thing. Okay. You have two choices. How's your work coming along, Johnson? Animate the positions of your IK nodes and keep it enabled. Or animate the bones pose and disable IK in runtime. And only use IK to create the animation. So I have to remember to go back and uncheck this when I want to test. Yeah, because now it's working. If I turn this back on, we're broken. So then if I go back to... Is that why the reset pose wasn't working? Ah, that's why the reset pose wasn't working. Okay, so if we do happy animation, then we go down to our bump pose. Okay. Instead of the bone transforms. Well, I like using IK for doing the animation, frankly, because it's way faster than having to futz with, because it's just like the point, you know. So I wish for workflow reasons, I could create, you know what I'm starting to wish Godot had? And maybe I could spend the time to, maybe this should be the project we work on as a plugin. But I wish, like, especially as I'm doing this animation stuff, like, for instance, I wanted the hip bone to be at a 45 degree, or the leg here to be at a 45 degree angle. But I have to constantly click around the inspector to find those things. I'd love to be able to just have something somewhere where I can just pin some of these elements. You know, this property here, I want to pin into its own like window container thing. And then when I'm working on things, like for instance, In this case, I have to go back and forth between checking and unchecking this box all the time, but that means I have to navigate into the into this window here. If I am not wrong, IK is calculated in CPU and bone transforms are calculated on GPU. So we'd prefer to have the GPU. But I don't really know. Yeah, without looking in the engine code. Maybe there's CPU when using capture as well. So should I just be keyframing? We'll use inverse kinematics to do the animation, work the animations out, key the movements, then uncheck, disable the inverse kinematics for the actual run of the game. And I guess we could do this at runtime as well. We could just make sure this is not enabled. And I guess if we're doing that for animations, then we could theoretically dump all of this stuff for jumping animation. Yes. That was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I'm kind of having a bit of a thing to wrap my head around. Everything I've read is that you want to base the root of your animations is the hip bone. And so even this crouch, it's like, okay, how do I determine where my feet are? Do I set some amount that I know the distance? For instance, I know it's 96 times 2, right? From here down, if I'm standing straight up. Basically, how do I make sure I clamp the feet where I want them to be so when it's on the ground, I make sure that those things are right? You know what I mean? Can I do that by cheating and offsetting the transform of the skeleton to the node 2D of the avatar? Is that the easiest way to do this? Do you know what I mean? Because then when I programmatically move the position of the avatar, the 0 position is the skeleton position. But what about the feet? Like I need to, when we bring it down and we trigger the animations and we want the feet like you're landing from a jump or something. Let's say we're doing that, right? If we're going to get that crazy, just as an example, I'm not saying I'm going to be doing this. But so you're coming down from a jump and then it's like, okay, the feet are at the position I need them to be to trigger the landing animation, right? Just like, how do I make sure that I can ground things if I'm basing everything around the hip bone? You know what I mean? Node 2D has a property called top level. Okay. Wait, no, forget that. That's based on the angle of the game, though, technically, right? That's what you're talking about. So what I'm thinking about doing is offsetting, because just make your IK nodes siblings of the skeleton. Instead of children. So you can animate the position of the skeleton. Well, the thing is I only have IKs for the arms and the legs, not for like the hip and the neck or the head. And the IK nodes will still allow to position your limbs. You can animate the position of the hip and or neck. Right. It's really the feet thing, though. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, when I set position of avatar, It's really where it's not where the hip needs to be. It's where the feet are going to be standing for the most part. But I don't know. Do I animate? Is 0 the hip? And if that's the case, yeah, IK breaks the... So now it just snaps. But only when I'm scrubbing. Oh, this is frustrating. Oh no, it appears to snap. Yeah, usually want to keyframe hip, feet, hands, and maybe head rotation. Yeah, so I'm thinking for the head rotation, for the most part, we're going to programmatically do that, wherein we tell, we actually add a mod to the to this where we programmatically say for the head to follow. Like, it'll be really cool to have the head actually follow the point of the ball, right? So when the ball goes up, everybody's heads like look up and look at the ball. So we can use look at. You may need more IK nodes when the skeleton behaves in weird ways. Okay. I'm starting to wrap my head around this. I'm very eager to get some artwork in here now, because I can really see the potential. This is to me what will make this like next level. Yeah, so we would use, we would programmatically set, we would add a mod for look at, and then we would set that on the head bone, and then that way we could when we want to, we could say look at this object, and no matter where that object goes, the head follows. And I believe you can actually also set some limitations on like the bends and stuff. You can enable some constraints. And so we could actually make sure that even if it's tracking something that it can't like look upside down or whatever, like an owl or like you know what I mean? So I think that would be cool. Something like that would be neat. And that would just be a flag in the essentially it would be like, on the avatar, we would just have an object that you could pop in there that you would say, it has to be a node 2D. You pop that object in there and it'll look at whatever position the node 2D is at. You can 1, not animate the IK of the head, or 2, set the head IK from code after it was updated from the animation. So you both basically override the animation. Oh, because the animation is, no matter what I set the animation, but if I don't keyframe, so long as I don't keyframe the head, then whatever I'm telling the head to do besides whatever animation I'm firing, that should be okay. If I ever keyframe the head though, then this kind of breaks, right? Unless I override like what you're saying. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Depends on execution order. Okay. I'm so thrilled about this. And the other thing that occurred to me about this whole thing is that we can still do the sprite thing. I'm not considering that right now, but it occurs to me that if we just take and we remove everything but the torso bone and if somebody wants to have their cutesy sprite, the old sprites, it could be possible to still do the motion animations and replace it with just the standard old school looking stream avatars sprites. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's not my concern. Or we toss that out completely, and if somebody wants to do that, we just reject the skeleton thing altogether and swap it with something else. That way the positioning and everything holds up. There's a process priority property. Depends on the execution. Animations can run on process or physics process. If it happens on process, then it depends on the order the nodes are in the tree. Okay. If you set the skeleton or animation player process priority to -1 or 1, you can decide what runs first. Okay. Man, I got bit by a wasp a couple of days ago, and it still itches. My daughter got bit 3 times the other day. I felt so bad for her. I really appreciate you, like, you know, talking to me about this. So that's why people will do multiple modification stacks. So you can add a mod stack to... No. Because I could see... This is all stuff I have in my head I've never put into practice. Yeah. I'm extremely intrigued by this because... Especially if you're talking about there is some way to make sure that it's only firing on the GPU, I would love to confirm that, because if I can do something to make sure it's only on the GPU, that would be awesome. That would be really cool, because I know that I'm not going to have a lot of characters on the screen, but I do love the idea of somebody wants to make some crazy shooter thing where everybody in chat... Some streamers got like 200 people in chat, and it's like a zombie shooter thing, and the chat's exploding. People can throw out all these commands and stuff like that, and you've got all this animations going on, and like everything else that comes with something like that, like a Vampire Survivors, but instead it's chat, right? Something like that. Right. Avoid premature. But like I'm saying, if there is a way to know to avoid the CPU side of things, just do it this particular way, then yeah. I love the idea too of being able to do an instant replay and have the slow-mo playback look slow-mo, because we're dealing with it's all just tweening rotations and positions. Latency is very high. Yeah. That's why it's like, it's got to be spammy. It's just spam. But I like... Don't worry about skeleton. I got to give a dog update, Mariano. Calvin, he's doing great. I'm following your advice of not having him on the bed at night. We're letting him into the bedroom only at night. He only comes in the house at night and only in one room in the house. And we're having to set boundaries, very clear boundaries. He's a puppy, so he's constantly like rummaging through our stuff, trying to find things to just chew on. And so, like, occasionally I have to kick him out. Just like, stop. He won't stop. It's like, okay, get out. And then he'll whine, and eventually I'll let him back in. But he's doing really good. He's doing really, really good. He's being a really good doggy. He's really... Just the other day, my wife was in the kitchen doing dishes or something, And this little puppy came up to the fence. Or not puppy. It's just one of those little toy dogs. Like a terrier. And it came up. And he just came up to the fence and like they sniffed each other's noses and everything. And he was totally nice to him. Well, we don't know. But we suspect he's between 6 and 8 and 10 months. I don't know. He's big. But he's definitely a puppy. His teeth are all still like really white. But when I do look at his teeth, some of them look a little bit more crooked. So it feels like maybe they all haven't come in yet. Gosh, I'm so excited about this. Sorry, I'm just like visualizing. Okay. How did we get offset? How did our skeleton get so far? But that custom never goes off. Shit. Don't say that. No. He's so anxious at night. It's like, dude, just chill. Just lay down. It's fine. You're in here. Just relax. But he's like, nah, I gotta find something to chew on. So we give him stuffed animals. He does okay with those for a little bit, but he wants something hard. My dog eats entire wooden beams. Oh, great. That's what I want to hear. I mean, he's destroyed our porch. Maybe I should just give him 2x4s. Okay. So let's delete bump. And this isn't this is for reference, guys. Everyone calm down. So this is 24 frames a second. The ball's midair. And then we're looking at... See, there's still a bit... She comes early on the... So legs squat even more. How many frames? You know what's crazy is Newton. So when the ball is here, it should be equal number of frames. Yeah, just that's crazy. So how many frames down? So 1, 2, 6 frames. Let's say 6 frames is when she's at. So we're gonna do 24 frames here, and we're gonna say, can we move? Is there a way to easily move these keys? So I can put them all the way over here, but the key is it has to be at like point something, but not 0. Is that what you're saying? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm using the frames because I'm trying to key off of a video that's 24 frames a second. Damn it. I'd love to be able to it's the IK stuff. So we got to disable that. God, this is going to be kind of a pain. I might write a tool so that when so the snapping is 0.1 seconds. So we can't have the snapping happen. What if I let it breathe though? Because I just want, what I mean is, what if there's a gap? Right? So right. I would have just hoped that it would tween between these 2 points here to the beginning of the next animation instead of having to do the tween in the animation. I want to actually tween between the animations. Because I want, but I get it. I get it. Right. Okay. Okay. So the other thing that I'm going to need to do, I'm noticing already for animating, is that I've got to set up a tool so that when we don't have KI enabled, I'm going to set up left leg, right leg, etc., so that when you're scrubbing, it moves them right to the tips of where they are, so that when I turn KI back on to animate, the feet, the hands don't like suddenly point in different directions because the positions aren't matching up to where the tips, the edges of the things are. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to have to do. I've got my work cut out for me. I think I'm starting to understand this from like a workflow perspective for what I'm trying to achieve and how I'm trying to achieve it. So, and not just using the tools that I have. So in order for that to happen, is there on GD skeleton? Is there signals emitted when the bone 2D setup attached to the skeletons changes? So that's the only signal. Is there anything in inheritance? No. So I would have to signal the specific elements. So this is just a bone. So that's got to be on the node 2D level, right? Property. There's no signals for... Position or size have changed. So position should be what we're looking for. Yeah. Okay. And then we need to grab the length and the angle and then do the math to clamp the... Well, maybe I should key on the Maybe I should key on the kinematics. I've noticed some weird stuff with trying to key and using look at. Like you can't key look at. There's like some weirdness that starts to happen with that. Unless because look at's always looking at that position, so you need to tween the position of the thing to have the look at. You know what I mean? So you can't keyframe the head if you have a look at for the head, for instance. You can't keyframe the head's position because it's looking at a position. So when you do that, you get this like jittering thing. You need to key the thing that it's looking at. Otherwise, it all gets like it gets wacky doodle. So I guess we could try. Let's try a. Let's go back to the skeleton. Reset pose. And we'll do a new animation here and just try keying only the kinematic stuff. Okay, so the funny thing is when I do this, we're not resetting this. It's only the bones. So and turn KI back on. Left arm. Something like that. And if we select all these, okay, it doesn't really matter. We'll key all the positions. Then we'll go somewhere in the future, move the position of one of these. Then we'll key that. I mean, that seems a lot simpler. I mean, I'm almost wondering. Right. I mean, that's so much easier to manage because then when I'm scrubbing the animations, it's literally placing the KI stuff where it needs to be, and I don't run into the problem I'm running into now where I go back and turn on IK and then everything's all, So I gotta say, like, this is like really, this is the meat and potatoes of making this stuff. Like, I feel like, I don't know. So I don't have a problem with like guides and stuff like that on YouTube. What I have a real problem with, I finally narrowed it down and am able to describe it, is the devlogs, where there is this sexified version of game development where everything goes smoothly and any problem is a funny noise and a couple of seconds of work and then you're back to business. And it's like, that's not what things are like when you're doing this stuff. And I don't know. I don't. Yeah. Anyways. Like, I remember seeing a lot of that with like web development things when people would work at Fang and stuff. When they'd be like, oh, it's a day in the life of working at, you know, Amazon. And then you got your chill beats playing and the coffee and going out for lunch. It's all this eating. So much eating. It's like, Jesus Christ, when do you actually work? Sorry. Like, when are you doing work? I don't understand. Like, how do you do anything? You're just constantly like getting food, and how are you not 700 pounds, first of all? And like, I just don't understand. That's the thing about video editing. It could take them like 4 days and it's 15 to 30 second blip in the video. I've just been on stream for the last 2 days seeing 999 plus red errors, and it's infuriating. Oh, God. I'm sorry, Sean. Okay, well, paperwork signed. I start a gig on Monday to be determined if I can and will stream it. It's not my errors, but you're right. Not an easy fix, I guess. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's the stuff that goes smoothly, and there's like the, so there's the good advice and the tutorials where it's like, hey, you know, there's the straightforward ones, right? Here's how you do this thing. Blah, blah, blah. This is why I do it this way. Whatever. That's great. But then there's a certain kind that I get really wary of. I see it a lot, and it concerns me. But then, yeah, this like sexified version of what is involved in the creative process, where it's not just you like consumed with labor and I don't know, sorry, and just like there's no room for the silence of thought, where you're just thinking. You can't put that in a video, so that creates this impression that it's all just like magic. I don't know. Because like I'm going through the process in my head of what does this look like when I'm using this if I go about it this way, right? What does it look like when I'm blah, 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 blah. And thank God Mariano's here because like he's seriously helping me avoid so much headache. Because he's like, oh yeah, you want to do... specifically talking about this whole capture thing. And what's interesting about capture too is I can have it happen at different points for the connections. There's a type of tutorial I dislike. The video will show you to do this, do this, do this. Halfway through the video, they say, don't do that. You don't want to do it this way. So you got to go back and delete it and do the second way in the video. It's the weirdest thing ever. Yeah, I mean, there's the ones where you can tell they didn't even go through the process, or they didn't do any effort in editing so that when they're at least presenting it, it's in a clean way. I can kind of get the whole like, but that's where I would appreciate it more when people show the dev process, where it's like, I'm doing all this work. Oh my God, I don't have to do it this way. Let me get rid of it. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm describing it well enough. But instead it feels like the person making the thing is like... Sometimes I even wonder if they're really running into these things that they run into. If they're not like kind of having the accident on purpose. I can kind of see the whole like don't do it this way, like learn by, but I feel like there's a better way. There's like sometimes it's even heavily contrived, so it just falls into place. Right, because they work the problem backwards. What they're not showing you is the process of development. What they're showing you is, and this is where I can appreciate a very clean guide of here's how you do this thing. Because it's like, okay, there is a way to do this thing. Here's how you do it. Right? It's like, okay, cool. But then there's the stuff that's a little bit more than that, but it's presented as though, I don't know how to put it, but I would almost much rather see the process of the creation of the thing, and where it was like, okay, I started going this route, but I decided that I'm not going to do it that way. But like what I find is when I'm developing, I'm typically getting things to a point where I have something, and then I have to change it later. And I feel like a lot of the from scratch tutorials, for instance, the make a game thing, none of that is shown, because it's like the perfect version of the game is made, and then I feel like maybe they start over from that and then show that. Right. Yeah. And that's a good explanation for the idea that you should know exactly what it is you're making before you start making it in software. I feel is true for when you're doing a product for a customer and the customer specs out exactly what they want it to do. Then yes, you can sculpt before you program. Right? You can say, this is how the code is going to look. These are the classes we're going to use. This is blah, 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 blah. But when it's like, well, I've never even done this before. I need this thing to happen. And then it's like, okay, well, then you just got to write something and make that happen. And then you find out everything wrong about it. I don't know. Am I making sense? Hi, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to go pick up some tea. See you in a bit. Sorry. I'll be right back. Where's the dog? Wasn't he in here? Wasn't he in here? Scratch, my boy. Okay, so we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna actually try and do some of this. Let's so we'll call this the verb animation player. And then this will just be the root animation player. And then so we really only need to tween these positions here and then the rotations for the torso and head bone. I'd love to have now reset is something that I create to key in okay, all right, let's start from scratch. We're gonna dump all these. So the problem though is that if we use okay. This is what we'll do. We'll key these. And we will manually set the positions where we want them to be matching our OG. Okay, so we're okay on all those. So let's key the head and torso bone as well. And then, because we can't use our starting pose, our sort of like T pose thingy, so to speak, because we're using kinematics. That overrides, like, wherever the position of this is, that's where everything's going to be. So for our reset, we're going to just go back to that. I don't know if that's going to mess everything up, but we at least need some way to click back to that so that we have some starting point for the next animation that we do. Okay, so left upper arm -160. So 160, and we know that we are a length of 80 times 2. 80 times 2, so left arm 80 times 2, which is 160. That's too short. Negative, Ghost Rider. Let's see. Length 80. But we're at a position of 36 starting. So we need to add 36 to our position. And that should be it. Okay. 196. 160. 160. negative 196. Oh, that's right. And we're a little bit further out here, actually. So the right one comes out a little bit more, which is 48. 16 more than the other one. So plus 16 on that. Minus 16, actually, because we're going in the other direction. There we go. Okay. And let's key it so we don't forget what we're doing here. Now we need to get the feet where they need to be. And we got some little phantom. Why are we here? Just to suffer. Upper left leg bone is 48. And we're 90. Is it 96 times 2? Left leg comes out 48. 96 times 2. And there we go. Golden. Golden years. Bop, bop. 192. 192. And we're going to go. Sean, by the way. Sean, how's it going? I did my little accent. Right? Is that insulting? It's like, oh, God, he's doing it again. How's the mobile? Are you still having problems with Android? And key it. Okay, we're keyed. Just plowing through the Twitch game. What's the Twitch game? Everybody's doing a Twitch game. It's what the cool kids are doing. Golden years. Bop, bop. Put some music back on. That's good. Okay, so now we have our reset animation. So now we can do this and go back to reset and get our T-pose back. So that's good. We have some overlapping issues here we need to fix, so I'll take care of that really quick. Right here we have the arm coming over the chest. We don't want that to happen. So I've got to change the... damn it, and see. There we go. I need to remember to not be on that when we're doing it. Okay, so then let's fix that. This is going to be... We're going to have remotes for the left lower arm sprite. And the chest, we'll need a remote for chest as well because we need to change the draw order of chest. Unless, can we change the order? No, torso is always going to be in front. Unless, can we go like something like that? Oops. Let's collapse all these. And okay, so we want right upper leg to be in front of it. And then right upper arm to be in front of that. What the hell just happened? Why? Why? Why did... In theory, the user is going to be able... Yes, this is true. All right, so we have to do every single one. Dang it, Mariano. Leave me alone. Why? Yeah, because the chest, even the chest one, or the torso, even that could actually need to be... Because if it's like a... If they're wearing like a poncho, right? Then the chest is going to need to be drawn over everything else. So if you've got like a cool, like, you know, like spaghetti western looking dude coming in, then yeah, okay. Fine. Fine. All this. I don't like it. Ah, shoot. We got to write down its positions before we move it. Get to the chopper. Yeah. Sometimes I can do a really good Arnold. This is not one of those times. Wow. That's just his, like, typical... Why did we lose the sprite? Okay, we're not going to save this. Don't save. Just a lot of that going on with him. And then you guys know about the like Harrison Ford like rubber face? When he like Harrison Ford does this like rubber face whenever he's like getting hit and stuff. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? It's all the same ones. Let me see. Harrison Ford rubber face. Yeah, they mention it. This is where they mention it. I can't unsee it. He does it a lot. I know I'm a big Harrison Ford fan. Actually, one of my favorite movies of his is I feel like it doesn't get enough credit either, but I think it's because it's like a Tom Clancy film. But Patriot Games is like a really good movie. And I remember reading, there was like a Reddit post because somebody was complaining about how verbose the Tom Clancy novels are. And they're like, this is ridiculous. Like the opening of, because they were talking about Patriot Games, and they're like, the opening of this movie or the book has this whole description about this captain of this ship that finds another ship out in the ocean or something. And it's like all this information about their background and everything. And they're like, what does this have to do with anything? And then it ends up, it's like, well, actually, somebody does the whole will actually thing. And like, oh, actually, it does play into, it's actually important because of blah, 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 blah. It's really funny. I've seen there's a bunch of classes to make use of IK. Look at subclasses of skeleton modification 2D. This reforce provides an interface expanded so the code that operates on bone 2D nodes and skeleton 2D can be mixed and matched together to create complex interactions. So that's the base one, right? Because I was wondering what this was about. Yeah. So yeah, I've looked at a lot of those. I haven't read the docs on them though. Mariana, not in. Well, actually, I have specifically the. So if we add a new element here, I've looked up the fabric one and then the CCDIK ones. Look at the list of inherited by. Right. So this is like the base one. So I could theoretically use this one and overwrite it and do some stuff with it. Subclass of the script, maybe. Yeah. But I think we'll be okay if I use the rest pose to bring it back to where we want to be. But I think the point is using the provided classes for your use case. And that's what I'm doing. I think I'm doing it. I don't need too much. There's a look at an example. Yes. Yeah. And I have looked, I have experimented with look at as well. And so this one, like I said, I think we'll be able to programmatically use look at. And from what I remember reading in the docs about look at specifically that you don't want to key, and I don't think it was in the actual look at nodes. It was in the base information about skeleton 2D. But yeah, Patriot Games is actually, in my opinion, is a legit good movie. But it's like definitely a dad film, you know. But essentially, it's just about how it's kind of about the drug war that plays a major part in it, and it's about how you can other parts of the government can trump up a problem so that the executive branch releases power, and then that power is then abused. And like how essentially how the president can be sort of tricked into circumventing his own knowledge about something to meet another end. Yeah, it's interesting. So 32 on this one. Whoops. So what we're doing right now is I'm setting up these remote transforms. Essentially, these allow you to remotely refer to the node 2D in a different part of the scene tree. And in this case, the reason why we're doing this is it allows us to collate them all into one spot where we can then change the Y sort manually. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to be able to allow the person who's creating the artwork for this, the artist, let's give them the name artist. What a radical idea. For them to be able to specify, I want this character's got like a shoulder blade thing, right? Or some sort of like armature that comes down over here, over the pivot point of the, like, I don't know. Do I have, so this is like a, you know, like a thing, and then the arm comes down like this, and we want this to draw over this, right? Over this arm. We don't want it to be behind it, right? So anyways, so the way to do that and still have everything do the transforms on the bones is to do the remote. And that's, again, thanks to having Mariano in chat. I recommend you, anybody who's doing this stuff and doesn't know what they're doing, to have Mariano or an Obsidian BLK in the chat. I highly recommend it. Let's give a shout out to Mariano, by the way. Shout out Mariano. Mariano's working on an NES emulator in Godot using GDScript. He's got scrolling going. It's available to download and run. It's crazy. It's madness. But it's really cool stuff. And his streams, I love his streams because it's just a stream of consciousness. Jotson does the same thing, which I really appreciate. I try to do it, but I don't know that I'm that good at it. Where you're kind of giving your, just vocalizing what it is you're doing. Who are you calling crazy? But I suspect one of the reasons why Harrison Ford does that sort of acting is because he's actually like hurt himself in real life, because he's like, you know, he sort of does things that might cause you pain. So he kind of knows that, like, that sensation of like just pure nerve endings firing off and that just that raw pain. Like when you know, you get like a splinter in your butt cheek because you're crawling underneath the house, like doing something, and it's too tight of an opening, and then it's just the wood just slides in there, and then you have to like, that's when that's when it's like, because you have to go the other way, and that's when it's like, and then you get the rubber face, right? That's what I presume. That's my explanation. That's my excuse for Harrison Ford. That's such an oddly specific thing that I'm talking about. It's like, is that from experience? I don't know what you're talking about. So now we have this the left upper arm sprite, and we could put that behind the torso, and it would draw on top, you see? So that's why we're doing it this way. But the rotations and everything still... I don't know why those sounds are so low. I've got to see. You know what? Maybe it's a setting on the. How does that come from? Sound alerts. Is there a volume setting on the browser? Doesn't look like it. There should be. I believe Poostack's made a ton of them. I haven't seen Pooh today though. Is she? That one's unfortunately easily trolled with that one. It's also weird that it's my voice. Oh, it's really you. Okay, let me check. Ah, crap. Okay. Sorry, guys. Got to get this for the wife. Okay, I sent it to you, Bear. I'm looking forward to that. There's that new Miyazaki movie. I'm a big fan of his stuff. And a lot of people, I'm not being contrarian when I say that Ponyo and Whispers of the Heart, or not Whispers of the Heart, sorry, that's not one of his. The Wind Rises, those are my two favorite of his. Like, not even, as the kids say, no cap. But it's seriously, I feel like The Wind Rises, unfortunately, just, you know, it's not magical or anything like that in a lot of ways. And so, unfortunately, I think people, that's, it just isn't going to be as liked by people who like his stuff. I see that on one level, but I tend to, because I do end up watching his movies a lot, like with the kids. And after multiple viewings, you start to, if you're not just zoning out, like you start to kind of, there's like layers to his films, you know, like an onion. And Ponyo is basically like a sort of like a hidden environmentalist message. And the same goes for Wind Rises is like one of the best anti-war films I've seen. And one of the main reasons I would say that with Wind Rises in particular is because it does not show war. It shows the effects of it, and you don't see it. You don't see it, the face of it. And it's like, well, why is that important? And the reason to me is because the minute you show war in film, you can't help but celebrate it, or create a fiction of what it is. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, Ponyo's great. It's got, it's talking about, there's a lot of little like kind of science related things in it, briefly mentioning the Cambrian period of explosion of life on Earth, and let me make sure I have the rotation on this right. Yeah, I do. Okay. But it's definitely about, it was meant to be a saying by their parents when bathing. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, Ponyo's great. It's all right, let's move left arm and make sure we have, okay, so the draw order of left arm is not right. The shoulder, left upper should be behind this. Then let's get, oops. Sorry, I was just thinking here. Okay. Yeah, Calvin can stay in here, Bear. It's okay. But yeah, I feel like so to me, the environmental message is in there. There's brief moments where there is shown what the ocean looks like, and there's comments by the father about how it's not, humans don't take care of the ocean. And the main thing, the way that it circles together in my mind is that the moment with the mom when she's feeding the baby, she's like breastfeeding the baby, and Ponyo wants to feed the baby directly the ham sandwich, and the mom's like, she can't have that, but if you feed it to me, she can get it from my milk. And there's a big thing, it's mentioned several times, but the ocean feeds the people of Japan, right? And so it's that, and it's the mother, it's like Earth, right? It's like, take care of the Earth because she feeds you, right? And I don't know. And then also about, there's a message, there's a lot of things in it. There's a stuff about like whether you agree with it or not, but there's like a message about climate denialism, because literally the moon is falling and the older lady like is in complete denial about it. The moon's like about to hit the Earth, and he's like pointing up at it, and the moon's giant, and he's like, can't you see? And it's like, it's right there. And she's like, I don't want to, I don't, just like totally not wanting to listen to him. And okay, so I think we got a good set on the draw order for at least like a base. Okay, so we've got the skeleton order. We've got the this separation. We don't need to lock these. I guess we should just be safe because I don't want to accidentally move their positioning. Although I don't think we need to worry about that for this because they're remotes. And then we'll do the same on the it really does seem like Skeleton Modification 2D is designed to be overwritten, though. Because all it gives you is the option of enabled, and that's it. So it feels like you override it, and then you bring in your own unique one, and then you get access to all of its everything to pull from it. Because as an element that you would add into the Skeleton Modification stack, it literally does nothing. I guess there's the physics process, but I don't know if that overrides everything. Because I believe there's already a setting for that somewhere. And it's on a per execution for each one. But yeah, I was reading someone's take on The Wind Rises because it doesn't show war. That it's like how bad it celebrates somebody who made stuff that killed people. And that's at no point is the guy thinking about, like, I get what they're trying to say, but he just wanted to make something beautiful. That's in the story. I'm not saying the person in real life. It's actually a combination of like the biography of this real life person, but then also a story that's well known in Japan, as far as I understand. But I think it misses the point. The ending of the film is so impactful if you know anything about like the history of the plane itself and the war, and the fact that like nobody came back. That's the impact. The ending of the film is the tragedy of war, is that he couldn't just like in the time that he was alive and the things that he wanted to do, the net result of what he did, like he made this beautiful plane, but the war killed everybody that flew it. I don't know. At least that's my takeaway from it. I think the bone. So like the complexities that the additional complexities, the right arm, I might need it to be able to bend both ways based on the rotation of where this is at. Because I don't necessarily always want it to do this. Oh, and actually the draw order for the head. Let's. There we go. Oops, and we're on rest, so we don't want to. Hang on, let me get out of that. Let's go to bump. Okay. Oh no, I messed up. God, this is killing me. I keep. I mean, is it like auto keyframing for me? Oh, it's on that. That's what was doing it. Dang it. Okay, let me fix it one last time. Okay, so that was what was doing it. It's a damn record button. Okay. Let's see. This one's. Is there a way to lock the animation? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so now we're actually going to really try and do a bump. The shed? Like a really long one. The short white ones, it could be anywhere, frankly.